Hi, this is Bruce Buffer, your voice of the Octagon, and you're listening to MMA Mental.
Okay, we are now joined by the K1 legend and World Series of Fighting President Ray Sefo. Thank you for joining me today, Ray.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. So obviously we're going to talk about you've got a big event coming up this week, so we're going to talk about that. But before we do, just wanted to talk a little bit about your background. So obviously you've had a decorated career yourself in combat sport before running the promotion. Of course, are still active as a fighter. So let's talk a little bit about your K1 career. What made you want to get into K1?
I was a typical young kid that grew up loving martial arts, and one of my first martial arts movies was Jackie Chan's movie, Kung Fu movies, and Bruce Lee, and that got me really interested in it and just fell in love with martial arts, and went on from there, and went from Kung Fu for 6 years, which was Wing Chun, and then went in from there to Thai boxing, and did Muay Thai ever since, and started competing and winning titles, national titles, and then went into the World Championship and won 6 world titles, and the next big goal was at that point was to get a contract with K1, because I would watch these for 2-3 years. I would watch these great legends of the game compete in K1, and I was like, I was a young kid looking at it going, wow, I would love to be there one day. And so that's how that came about, and from there, when I got the call to go, it was surreal at that point, because, and then sitting actually in one of the arenas and watching these great warriors compete against each other was surreal. So I just fell in love with it.
It's funny you should talk about watching these legends. Obviously, it's fair to say you've become a legend yourself. But who were these people that you watched that made you want to go into K1? When you talk about the legends, who were these legends in your eyes?
Oh, it was Peter Ertz, Ernesto Hoosh, Jerome LeBanner, Andy Hogue, Mike Bernardo, Francisco Fino, Sam Greco. The list went on, and they were just amazing, and what they did, and I just was like, wow, this is truly amazing. So, and just the fact, just the thought of actually being there, and not only just watching the event, but knowing that the reason why I was there was because I was going to be facing one of these guys, and it was just, and the ceremony that they had, and the way K1 does production is the best, and so sitting at the venue and watching Andy Hogue and all these guys go at it was probably at that point in time was the biggest part of my career, or was the biggest height of my career at that point. And so knowing that I was going to be one of these guys, like within a few months, it was a dream come true for sure.
And you say about it being a dream come true. So that was going to be my next question. What was it like facing these guys? What was it like facing these people who you would put in such an iconic figure in your eyes? What was it like facing them in the ring?
It was surreal. I mean, not only that I was a fan of these guys, but now I'm not only facing these guys, but also considered as one of them. It was the whole thing was surreal for me at the time, and it took a little while to get used to it. I got into martial arts because I fell in love with the art, and then to even be and then winning titles after titles, and then to be considered as one of the best in the world is, it's still surreal to me today. I don't really think about it like that too much, and and it's only every now and then that, for example, I would have some family members come around to my house and they say, well, wow, it's unbelievable that you've been inducted into the Masters Hall of Fame and the USA Hall of Fame and this and this. And then it hits me, it doesn't, it's, again, I'm a huge fan of the sport. I'm a huge fan of boxing, kickboxing, and mixed martial arts. And so, I think I'm more of a fan than anything else that, I don't know how to put it in words. Like, for example, a reporter would ask, what does it feel like to be, a world champion and being a Hall of Famer? And for me, it's like, I don't know. And, I look at it and I'm so proud and happy to be, have achieved that. But that being said, competition is my job. I wake up every day and I go to the gym. That's my job. What's no different to the guy that wakes up in the morning and goes to the warehouse or an attorney or whoever. It doesn't matter. I mean, we have so many different. Everybody has so many different jobs, and which helps the world rotate. And the only difference between my job and the guy that delivers, picks up the trash is my job is in the public eye. It's on TV. But that being said, I try and do it just as hard as that guy there. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And obviously, what you've done and what you've achieved is absolutely amazing, and are still doing so now. What are some of your own personal highs within your combat career?
I would have to say the highest for me, and the thing that's more memorable is, and that matters to me the most, is the fact that I can say that I've shared the ring with some of the best fighters in the world. Not many people can say that, and so I think that's, for me, is the biggest high is to be able to compete with the best of the best, and to face every top level, top name fighter in the world of kickboxing.
Now, you fought in March last year against another legend of K1 and of course of mixed martial arts, which was Mirko Filipovic, or Mirko Krokop as he's known. Do you plan to have any more fights?
Yes, I'm looking forward to, I want to have 7 more fights and then retire. I'm hoping to get one in this year, whether it be in my league or I've had a couple offers from Russia, a couple offers from Australia, from Japan. And so, it's just a matter of finding the time and finalizing a few things, and then hopefully I'll get to, mix it up sometime before the end of the year. Krokop is, he's a great fighter, and, but I fought him with the thought of him retiring, that was his final fight. And then, no excuses. Listen, I didn't have a camp for that fight, and just because I had already had a full schedule. I was in Brazil for 2 weeks, came home for a week, and then I was in Chicago for a week, came home for a week and a half, and then we were in Sydney for a little over a week, came home for 12 hours, and jumped on the plane to fall, called off 3 days later. So, I didn't really have a camp. That being said, I would love the opportunity to fight him again. So hopefully, that comes up at some point. But it is what it is. I still enjoy competing, and I love competing, and I look forward, and hopefully I really want to get to get to 100, and then I definitely would hang the gloves up.
Now we're going to move forward a little bit and talk about the World Series of Fighting, which of course is a promotion that you've set up quite recently. My first question was, what made you want to start an MMA promotion when most of your background is K1?
What I did with, back in 2000 was the first time that I worked with Royce Gracie, who's a good friend of mine with jiu-jitsu. And then I ended up fighting my first MMA fight in, Heroes, as a K1 show. And then, I think it was back in 2006, I want to say, 2007, I met Randy Couture and became part of his camp and gym, and just fell in love with the sport. And I started wrestling and started doing jiu-jitsu and started really enjoying the groundwork. And I think the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu side of things rejuvenated my mind as a fighter. It made me more hungry and made me more wanting to be active. And so the opportunity, this opportunity presented itself from an interview that I did one night, and I was thinking something through that interview. Something clicked in my head, and then I thought of calling a good friend of mine who's one of our silent partners, and talk to him about it. And come to find out, well, this was a Friday night, and then Saturday morning, he calls me, and he says, "Hey, brother, what are you doing?" I says, "Well, I'm headed to strength and conditioning training." And he says, "Well, what are you doing after that?" I said, "Well, maybe, I said, I guess I'm having breakfast with you." And then I turn up, and that was, he's like, I says, "What's up?" And he's like, "Well, I've been thinking about talking to you. I've been thinking for the last 3-4 weeks to talk to you about starting a fight league." I looked at him and I went, "What?" And he says, "Why?" And I says, "Well, that's the reason I was going to call you Monday, and that was the reason why I was going to call you, was to talk to you about that." And so everything up to this point has happened because it was meant to happen. You know what I mean? Like some things in my life, a lot of things in my life, I just kind of go with the flow, and they just fall in place. And so that day was the birth of World Series of Fighting. And 2 years later, our first show, we had our first show. So, and now we have a 3-year deal with NBC Sports Network with a minimum of 6 fights per year. And to have that kind of platform is second to none. I mean, our fighters and our guys have this huge stage to showcase their skills, and I got nothing but love and so much thanks to NBC Sports Network for believing in not only the product but believing in my team and myself and the fighters that we have. And we have some of the best fighters in the world, and so and that will continue to grow. Our roster will continue to grow. But it all came about that one interview.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about NBC Sports. I was going to do that a little bit later, but as you brought up, I'm going to do it now. So far, your events have been aired on NBC Sports Network, and also your prelims have been aired on Sherdog.com. How big is it getting this kind of deal straight from the start?
Oh, it's, for us, it's huge. To actually have our first event on a primetime network, it's, a huge deal for anybody. And then having to sign a 3-year deal with them, it's truly amazing. Myself and the team are very happy and very excited with the relationship with NBC Sports Network. They've been nothing but great. They're a fantastic group to work with. They're very accommodating and very helpful. And, I can't thank them enough for all the love and support that they're showing us.
Now, for World Series of Fighting 1, it's fair to say, especially with this being your first event, the card was absolutely stacked from top to bottom. Now, as a fan watching the card, it was very exciting to watch. How pleased were you with how the event went?
I was very excited. I'm very, when the host, I think by the second or third fight, I turned around because I was sitting cage side. I turned around and there was a butt and there was seats. And that gave me, I was smiling on the inside. And, when the show was all said and done, I was just, over the moon because not only, the production was great, all the fighters, came and did their thing and performed, they showcased their skills, the people that turned up, everybody, the media, everybody just said nothing but positive things about the whole show. And so, I was, very thankful and, very pleased. And, we look to, keep doing that. And, like I've said many a times, our biggest challenge is ourselves and, to make sure that we put on, the show just as good or better, each time we put on a show.
Well, I know on paper, this main event is a lot more intriguing than the last main event. The last main event was a good main event, but I think Andrei Arlovski and Anthony Johnson, a lot of people are really excited to see this fight. Well, with regards to Anthony Johnson, obviously, we've seen him start from welterweight and now he's fighting a heavyweight. Do you think he's going to stay at heavyweight or is he going to still be switching between weights, do you think?
I think it depends on how he feels on the night, and it depends on how the outcome of this fight is. A lot of people don't realize Anthony is getting older, not getting younger. And so the older, he's a big guy. As you're getting older, it's harder to lose weight. And he's always had some issues with his weight. So, and now he's training at the weight that he normally walks around at. And he'll keep, obviously he'll drop down to he'll probably get in the ring, in the cage, probably between 220 and 230. So, and now he's coming into, the cage without having to worry about having to cut weight, without worrying about having to stress. All he's focusing on is winning that fight. And so, I have a feeling that if he comes out and puts on a good showing and a good job that night, there's a possibility that he may stay there. That being said, I talked to him and some of his team, and they say that they love him at 205 as well. So, I think at the end of the day, that's a decision that Anthony and his team will make. But either way, I don't mind seeing him either in the weight. I love seeing him fight at 205, but I would also like to see him at heavyweight if he's comfortable there.
Now, I mentioned about the fact that the World Series of Fighting 1 card was stacked, and it's fair to say, if it was possible, you've probably done better with this card. This card is probably even more stacked than the first card. Apart from the main and the co-main, is there any particular fights or fighters that you're looking forward to seeing?
Yes, I'm really looking forward to the return of Paulo Filho. I think, from what the reports I'm getting from Kevin, one of our staff members here, who's been going back and forth with Paulo's team and even himself, it sounds like he's good. It sounds like he's ready to go. He wants to come out and prove the world that he's back and that this is where he belongs. So I'm really excited about that. That being said, he's got a huge opponent in the name of David Branch, who's also a great fighter. And so, I'm looking forward to that fight as well. Of course, Tyson Nam and Myron Moraes, I thought their last outings were amazing, and I'm picking that fight to be the fight of the night. So we'll see.
Now, also, it's fair to say, especially when you compare North American MMA to Japanese MMA, there's a lot of emphasis put in champions and working towards title fights. What are your plans for this with regards to this for World Series of Fighting?
We definitely, we definitely want to battle a couple of champions, but we also want to. That being said, we also want to do another few more events before we look at crowning somebody, and of course keep adding to our roster. But yeah, no, without a doubt. I mean, right now our focus is put on exciting fights, fan favorite fights, fights that the fans want to see, fights that make sense, and so, and also building our own young champions. And but yeah, absolutely. Maybe the fourth event, third or fourth event, we'll look at crowning somebody.
Now, talk about that 4 or 5 event. We'll look at crowning someone. Looking at the bigger picture now, looking forward, where do you see the World Series of Fighting, say, in 5 years' time?
Well, we'd like to be, one of the best out there. We like to say that we have some of the best fighters in the world, and we like to come out and travel the world. Actually, I mean that that being said, there's already discussions of traveling all over with Brazil, Egypt, Israel, Dubai, Australia, Japan, and New Zealand. So there's a lot of things in the works right now, and we definitely want to 5 years from now, we want to be a force in the world of mixed martial arts.
Now, obviously, this is my final question. Obviously, I'm based in the UK, and MMA is booming at the moment in the UK. Do you have your eyes on any possible UK fighters that we might get to see on the World Series of Fighting in the future?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You guys the UK has some of the best fighters in the world, and the likes of Dan Hardy and Bisping, and those guys. Met both guys, and both wonderful guys. Matter of fact, Dan Hardy trains here in Las Vegas, and without a doubt, we definitely like to sign some of the UK fighters. And I think the 4th of April, I'm actually flying out to the UK, meeting with some people there that's also looking to go into business and probably do a partnership and that kind of thing. So that's in the works as well right now.
Oh, that's very exciting. As a huge fan of MMA, whenever we get a promotion like yours and you're taking the UK into consideration, that's always fantastic in my eyes anyway. So thank you very much for your time today, Ray, and it's been an absolute honour to talk to you, and I just appreciate you giving me your time.
Oh, thank you. I want to thank all the fans from the UK as well, and the fans all over the world, of course, here in the States, for all the love and support, not only for myself and for my team here at World Series of Fighting. We've received nothing but love and support. So, and also to the media, you guys, nothing but respect for you guys. Thank you so much for all the love and support.